All right, good morning, everyone, and we are here on the It's Not What You Think podcast with my co-host, Dave Piron. Should I say your name or no? It's too late. Fuck.
We're in. We're
already dialed in, and it's too late. Like, they're going to know who you are.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, you're in. All right, yeah. We're dedicated. Yeah.
We die together.
Yep. If we're going to burn, we're going to burn together. That's it. Yep, we're in it. All right, everyone. So today we're just kind of giving a introduction of ourselves, and my name is John Lee Chalbeck. I was born in Key West, Florida in 1982, and for the most part I believed in all of science my entire life. I believed what I was taught in school, and obviously there was mysteries of the world that always I thought about, like the Loch Ness Monster and Atlantis and, Jesus and the heaven and, all sorts of stuff that we just don't know. No one can really know what's going on. So it sparks your curiosity, right? And one thing that, really sparks our curiosity also is Bigfoot. And so that's kind of what we're going to be focused on today. But we are going to kind of give a little bit of an introduction and a kind of, before we get into our topic on Bigfoot, a little introduction of ourselves and, what we're all about. Now, Dave and I met through boxing. I'm his boxing coach, and he sponsored, he started out, just working out with me, and then he sponsored me, and now he's become, one of my good friends, and now we're starting a new business together, and, we have goals that we're trying to achieve together. And so here's Dave. Dave, introduce yourself to all your, big fans out there.
Right.
I'm sure you have a lot of them besides just the ones you live with.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, I'm Dave Piron. I was born in Michigan, raised in Michigan. I've been basically a rule follower my whole life. Kind of a good boy, I would say.
Grew up swinging the bat and just breaking bats and baseballs over people's heads.
I don't know about that. Played a lot of baseball, though, for sure.
You never hit anyone with a baseball?
A baseball?
Yeah, like you hit the ball and it hit someone.
Yeah, that's happened, I guess.
Okay,
I've never hit anybody with a baseball bat.
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe the catcher, he was right behind you. You never know.
No, it didn't happen.
It's believable. I mean, stop acting like I'm talking conspiracy already.
Right.
So, anyways,
yeah.
So you grew up in Michigan, and you pretty much were like me, followed the rules, didn't get in trouble, tried to have a normal childhood playing sports. You played baseball. Did you play football?
Played a little football.
I played football, wrestled a little bit, and then I got into boxing. And then, as soon as I got into boxing, that's what I stuck with. And so 20 years later, you walk into the gym, and I'm like, jab, jab, cross, keep your hands up, keep the weight in your back foot, stop being an idiot. Yeah. And, and now we're good friends.
Right.
So that's pretty much long story short. And, so we're going to kind of touch on Bigfoot today, Now, before we get into that, let us just say that we're starting to really question pretty much everything nowadays, because we've caught these... We're just going to say they. When we say they, we mean the elite, the royal bloodlines that have been running this world for thousands of years, whether you want to believe that or not, that's the truth. And, we tend to start to question a lot of stuff now. And we're not afraid to admit that we don't know a lot of things. And in my opinion, everything's back on the table. So, with that out there in the universe, and you kind of already know where we're at, we're kind of like going to go with this show and the guests we have. We'll bring on guests and researchers, and we're going to push back a little bit, and of course we're always going to speculate, but we're going to tend to think that if they've done this much research, we at least kind of believe what they're talking about a little bit. Okay, we got to give them the benefit of the doubt. Because many times I go to talk to people about something and they don't even know the narrative. They don't even know the history of the narrative. How can they know the alternative? How can they know the alternative?
I'm probably that guy most of the time, right?
Most of the almost 99% of the time, at least from 11:45 a.m. to 1:15 p.m. every day.
Correct.
That's you.
Yeah.
You know, because you're having to try to answer, you know, difficult questions sometimes that you don't know the answer to, but you tend to want to go along with, you know, what these evil Luciferian elites, you know, have taught us. And,
right.
And now I'm not so sure that what they have been saying all along is true. But we're not going to go so deep today into all that evil, you know, mumbo jumbo. We're going to kind of like do something a little lighthearted today.
Yeah,
and
fun.
I think everyone can get behind Bigfoot.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Right. So we have a little bit of a problem. We don't have a monitor for Dave to look at, and he's on the other side of me. So what I'm going to be doing is when I stick up a picture, I'm going to send Dave the picture so he can look at it on his phone, because he's not going to be able to see what's on my side that we're going to be able to talk about, okay? Now, first of all, are we still recording?
Hope so.
Okay.
We still good?
I think this thing's so sensitive. I'm afraid to put my. But yeah, it says we're still rolling. Okay. So I got some pictures here, and I have a video that we're gonna go over now.
So, what's your belief on Bigfoot?
My belief on Bigfoot, after doing a little bit of research and, you know, seeing that, you know, there's pretty much a different type of Bigfoot in every different part of the world. And I mean, even before people were really communicating with each other on different continents, you know, supposedly, allegedly, you know, by the narrative, you know, I tend to think people were communicating a lot more with each other, you know, all over around the world. And we tend to think that, you know, they were more isolated. Mm-hmm. But, you know, when you have pyramids on every continent, you know what I mean? I mean, it's pretty, you know, it's hard to deny, you know, reality.
So you think there's possibly something there?
I think Bigfoot is a bipedal hominid that is, you know, anywhere from, you know, probably 6 to 10 feet tall. And depending on, you know, just like people, where it is in the world, you know, they're a different color, a different shape. You know, like in China, you have the Yeren, mm-hmm. and more in the Himalayas, you have the Yeti. Mm-hmm. You know, so you know, you're talking now. Let me look at my notes real fast. Now, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, who I was just listening to, was talking about something very interesting. He gave some evidence that was kind of what he thought was undeniable, was the Yeren and the American Sasquatch have the same arched foot, like the same arch in their...
Is that from like people making cast molds?
Yeah, they make these casts now. Yeah, they made these casts. Now, supposedly... this Chinese guy in his cast was so isolated, he never could have known about the cast that was made in America.
So some of these are actually lining up.
A lot of it's lining up, you know? And so I'm going to show a couple pictures here. And like he believes the bipedal hominid family tree is very big, and that there could be 100 to 300 different species of these things.
And we still haven't found like a dead one anywhere?
And we just haven't found one because they think that there could be, you know, more to them than just a big, tall gorilla that can rip a guy's head off.
Right.
You know, and the reason I say that is because I think it's the Bigfoot War of 1855 between these 7-foot Indians, Native Americans of this certain tribe, and the story goes that they chased these huge like giants into this cave, and they smoked them out.
Wow.
Oh wait, no, I think I'm getting it confused. That
So
was
do we
that was the lock. That was the lock. It was some lock lead caves in Utah. The giants did battle these Bigfoots, and so it was these Native American. There's a picture of these like 7 Native Americans. They're all 7 foot. It's
So
crazy to look at. They battled these Sasquatches that were snatching up children in like 1855, and this is what's been documented. And so that when the one guy ran up to the one Sasquatch, supposedly it just like they'd shoot him in the chest and with the bullets, and they would literally like would be indestructible. They could only get hit to the head. That was like their only spot where they could be hurt by bullets.
Wow, they're like the Terminator, huh?
That's what it says. That's what they say. And you know, it's documented by these Native Americans.
That the Sasquatch is like a descendant of man somehow, or is this completely like if there were these giants? Was it like some sort of,
like me? Like is that what?
Or the guy that you're referring to that's telling the story about?
Well, he's just telling the story about what the Native American story is.
Yeah.
Like he's just regurgitating the Native American side of it.
Oh, okay.
Right. So it's not like his opinion or anything. Like he's just telling us what the Native Americans say, and that there was these 7 giants, and all these kids were being snatched up, and they thought they were just like being snatched up by bad guys. And they went and followed them, and they found these fucking huge Sasquatches, and they killed 2 of them and injured the other one, and then they burned the bodies.
Wow. And how long ago was this?
1855.
1855, huh?
1855, and it's called the Bigfoot War of 1855. And then there's another instance, and I think it's called the Lock Lead Caves in Utah. And you can go and look at the cave, and the burn marks all up there. But what happened was all these tribes got together, and there was these giants. You know, there was this giant tribe, and I don't know. I can't remember if they were killing people or if if they just like couldn't. They were encroaching on each other's territory, but they all got together and they pushed these giants into the cave, and they wouldn't come out, so they burned them alive pretty much. And then the ones that came out they killed, and then some stayed in there and they died. And when they found this cave, supposedly when they first found it after a long amount of time has gone by, the archaeologists found these giant skeletons. And so the narrative is that these things have never existed, but what people think is that the Smithsonian and the museums that are all part of the government branch of controlling knowledge, get in there and steal all of the giant bones, and they keep that in the back rooms they're never going to display that shit. Yeah. But there is like a 2-headed giant on display somewhere that most people don't know about it, and I can't remember where it is. But
so do we think that the Sasquatch and these giant people are like related somehow?
I just think that there's a bunch of different types of like people, like human types, like whether you want to call it a Sasquatch or a giant or a Denisovan, those little mini people that they found in some cave. And it's like they add that to the Neanderthals and the and the Homo erectus, and you have all these different types of hominids that have that they scientifically have proven have existed over the years. And I think just
well, then
life's a lot more interesting than
that's more like
I think some of these little things have slipped through the cracks, and some of them exist places. So we got a pretty good video. Let's start off with that. So it's early. So here I showed you this video, so you've already seen it.
Okay.
Yep. All right. So here you go, everyone. So here's the video. I'm not sure if you can hear anything, which is kind of sad. It does show that you can hear something, so I hope you can. But you'll see here is the Bigfoot, and it's snapping off pieces of this tree. This is the guy saying that he got scared, and but he snaps off this thing in this tree, He throws it in the water. Boom! You just saw him throw it in the water. Now let's speculate for a second. Obviously, this could be an act. It could be a guy in a suit dressed as a Bigfoot, and they're trying to make some sort of viral video to, get people talking about it, because this is the type of shit that people are interested in. The unknown, the occult, that's what the unknown is. It's just not known. And you can pretty much apply that word to a lot of things. And I think a lot of people get that mystery confused. But this, Bigfoot is a mystery. And while there have been tons of sightings, recorded sightings of this thing, it's always going to be a mystery until there's one right in front of the camera standing 2 feet away from it, just like Dave's face.
I mean, I feel like in that video, at least it looks like an animal. It makes movements like an animal, right?
Yeah, and then you see it stand up, and it was at least 8 feet tall. It was at least 8 feet tall. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this video.
Why do you
small.
think 8 foot tall though? Like what are you referring it to get that size?
It just, I don't know. It just seemed, so you're a carpenter. I'm a carpenter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it seemed like it was at least as tall as a piece of plywood. You know what I mean? Like maybe. Standing up. You know what I mean? That's a 4x8 sheet.
Right.
So to me,
it's just in the video. It's hard to
It is hard because
something.
There's no reference, right?
Yeah.
And I agree with you. So, but I'm gonna make this video small now that you've seen it big and it's taken up the whole thing, and I'm just gonna kind of leave it here. But I'm going to turn the sound off so that this media file doesn't get in our way. All right, so it's there, so you can kind of look at it, Hopefully it won't be too distracting. Think we should keep it or no?
I don't know. Is it just playing?
It's just kind of on a loop over and down in the corner below you, but
I don't think you need to keep playing it.
I don't think we need it, actually. It kind of looks more like a distraction. Okay, so I'll cover it up. Hey, we're just flying by the seat of our pants here. You know what I mean? We're not
learning.
Yeah, we're. This is our first introductory thing. So okay. So then we got some more pictures here. And actually, what I could do is I can just show you the picture. So one thing that this doctor was talking about is that they're seeing a lot of deer in areas where there are Bigfoots. And real quick, let's just look at where all the sightings are.
You have something like a map that.
Yep, I have a map that's about to pop up, and boom, you see that. Now this is all the huge Bigfoot report locations.
I thought it was big in like Canada or something like that, isn't it?
I mean, there is a some Canada sightings, but you'll see that most of the sightings are in the United States, and
really?
It's all up and down California, Washington, Oregon. There's some in New Mexico and Texas, lots in Tennessee and Kentucky, even some, Michigan is filled.
I feel like there was a big story about one in Missouri or something like that where a lady had a farm and it kept on like attacking the cattle and chickens and stuff like that.
Yeah, tons of like,
but they didn't like
that.
Test the hair that they were finding left behind and whatnot. I don't know if you ever heard any of that.
Now,
what is that?
Look at that. Just look at it for a second. Go ahead, take it. Now, this is what you're going to see. I gave Dave my phone so he can see what we're looking at. And you're looking at a deer that's had 2 deer heads just shoved right into it. And this is how the guys found the deer. Now, let's speculate for a second. Here, I'm going to make this big so that you can look at it real quick. A little bit bigger. There you go. Now, yeah, obviously that's weird. Could a couple of humans done that? Absolutely. Absolutely. But, it's worth adding it to the pile of evidence and then, seeing
what's the theory behind this thing?
that a Bigfoot just jammed 2 other deer's fucking heads into the body. Like, I don't know. Like, who the fuck knows? And then here's another one where the deer's head is twisted off.
Now, does the anything that you read, does it say like what these things eat? What they do they hunt deer? Are they more like plant eaters? What because they don't seem to mess with humans much.
Well,
or run from them for the most part, right?
That's not necessarily true because it may seem like a bunch of these, the missing 411 phenomenon is a bunch of people going missing, and a bunch of people being found, and a bunch of people being deceased and then dying in absolutely weird fucking ways. For example, one guy was found underneath a tree. Underneath a tree.
Yeah.
All right, so let's unpack that for a second. Underneath the tree.
How long was he gone?
How the fuck do you get underneath the tree when the whole search party finds you and there's multiple witnesses and this is what they stumble upon? A tree was picked up out of the ground and smashed back into the ground with the guy underneath it.
Oh, underneath like the root system?
Yes. Dead. Smashed. But in the root system with the tree back to standing up.
Wow. Now, that couldn't be like someone had a truck with a spade, popped a tree out, put it back on top of a dead body? I mean, we think that it got pulled out of the ground and slammed on somebody?
Possibly, but I mean, the guy goes missing.
Right.
The guy goes missing, and then they find him the next day deep in the woods. I mean, what are you talking? Like, they drove a truck through the forest to do this?
I feel like that'd be easy to put together if that was the case, right?
I mean, yeah, they would have saw tracks, they would have seen, but,
right.
I don't think that was the case. Now, this is obviously a secondhand.
How big was this tree?
Again, that's a question I'm not really sure of, but, obviously this is a secondhand story. This is a story that I heard somebody saying, because this is in the missing 411.
Yeah, I want to see this tree. I mean, like if it's like one of those small Christmas trees, maybe you could pull that thing out of the ground. I don't really know.
The tree was the tree was massive. It was like I don't really know how big it was, but it was shocking to see.
Yeah.
Like it's only like a few of the guy's limbs is sticking out in his head. You know what I mean? He's like he's completely covered by roots and he's just complete. Yeah. And then there was another one where, and this is all missing 411, which is this detective, David Petritis, thought it's really weird that the national parks don't have a missing person database. And people go missing in the
like still today.
And it's just really fucking weird.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, if you want to go on the deep end real fast, not to go on a tangent, but Eisenhower made a deal with the aliens, and they said that they can abduct people from the national parks. Okay, now we're going back to Bigfoot, but
it's got to be what it is.
Well, another theory is that if it's a simulation, people are just walking. The people that just disappear are walking, and they just kind of unrender themselves. Yeah. Because the simulation is just not going to keep going. It's not going to grow so big for just one person or something. Right. I don't fucking know. Like, right. I don't really subscribe to simulations, even though I'll put hashtag simulation all the time because shit just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like someone wrote a fucked up code. Right. So I joke around about a lot of things, and I'll post like flat earth memes that make people mad. Obviously people get mad, but I don't believe that the earth is flat. I don't really subscribe to that. I'm not afraid to admit, after finding out that these motherfuckers lie about everything, I'm not so sure. You know what I mean? Just like we're not so sure what Bigfoot is. Right. Just like we're unsure, but we're trying to figure it out. Yeah. And that's how I feel like about a lot of things. Yeah. Right. So here we go. We've got this deer right here. So this picture is just kind of depicting. I'll cover my face up and leave you Dave there so you can see Dave's pretty lit up face. You can see that this is the theory. That's what's going on with the deers getting their neck broke. Okay? And you saw that one. There's this one right here where the neck is just twisted off. Now, these hunters and the people that find these deer, you know, they look at the spine. They're not just seeing a deer with its head off. They look at the spine and can tell it's twisted. It's the whole spine and neck is twisted and contorted.
Now, do they think like
if it was a bear, if it was a bear, they wouldn't leave. You know, they wouldn't leave it like this. A whole deer with its head just twisted off. They'd eat it.
They could have got spooked by something, right?
I guess, but just the way they're twisted off, they don't think it's a bear.
Yeah.
They think it's something with...
And two, bears seem like they would rip things apart, not necessarily twist things apart.
Yeah,
right?
they shred them.
Right.
And so the thing is with the 1855 war is that the first guy that ran up on it, it just twisted his head right off. So now it's like kind of goes along with the story. They're finding all these deer with their head twisted off.
Yeah.
When a guy supposedly gets killed by a Bigfoot, their head gets twisted off. And so...
Where do people think they run to?
Well, you see some of these like places where all the trees are bent over and then they think those are like Bigfoot like little houses for a second. Maybe they're like temporary shelters, but... I like to lean more towards interdimensional. Yeah. Like, they're just walking through a portal or there's some sort of, like...
Gatekeeper?
Gate that they can go in and out of realms, you know? And that's why I tend to think that, you know, it's not so much... Maybe it's not, you know, space. Maybe it's more of a realm, you know? And it's like Rick and Morty... We're going from portal to portal to different dimensions, you know? And so, you know, who the fuck knows? But it's definitely more interesting than talking about, you know, the Republicans and Democrats who already know who's going to be in office and they work together. They're all at the same fucking, you know, Jeffrey Epstein parties. You know what I mean? So, like, it's way more interesting to talk about this shit. You know, I just want to, sometimes I just go off on a tangent real fast and forgive me. But so let's go over the Yeti real quick. So the Yeti is the abominable snowman that resides in the Himalayas in Nepal and Tibet. Some say the Yeti is the original variety of Bigfoot, and others diffused it and says it evolved from them. They are characterized by white and yellowish white fur and a more stockier build than Sasquatches. They are often confused with the Arctic variety of Sasquatch, which has a similar color but is found in North America. Interesting. So I didn't even know now they're talking about a white North American Sasquatch that's not the Yeti. Never even knew that. I always just thought the only white one was a Yeti. So that's interesting. Now that was the Yeti, which is found in the Himalayas. But like I was saying earlier about the doctor, he was talking to a Chinese man in China, and here's the Yeren. And the Yeren is another mysterious ape-like creature rumored to inhabit rural southern China. They are even more closely related to the North American Sasquatch than their neighbors, the Yeti. They are known to be malevolent to humans and even to eat them. And they are legends that Chinese travelers in the mountains wore tubes on their arms. I can't really see the rest of that. But that's the Yeren. And the Yeren was the one that had the same arched foot as the American Sasquatch. And then right here you say that they're even, this guy, you know, this article says they're even more closely related. So that's interesting. So that was the Yeti and the Yeren. Now,
when you say all that stuff, that makes it sound like it's like a bear that lives in a certain area and it stays in a certain area.
Russian brown bear, Alaskan brown bear,
right?
Grizzly bear, black bear, the sun bear in India.
Right.
I mean, you're talking all these different types of bears.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, and it's not that hard to swallow that maybe there could be an ape type race of all sorts of different, you know, branches that live in different parts of the world, because that would make sense for almost every fucking species of anything.
But the problem is, it's like, if it was like that, how come we still haven't been able to capture one or find one that's dead in the woods or anything like that? You know what I mean? We got these grainy ass videos all the time that we're trying to believe.
Grainy ass videos like the one we showed. But really, like, I think that one is really good. Like, I mean, I haven't seen a better video than that one.
Yeah, as far as a video goes, I mean,
how scared would you be? Like, let's be honest. One of the first things you said
I would have
was,
never stood where that guy was for as long as he did.
Exactly. One of the things that you even said was, man, that guy's really close to that thing.
Right.
And the way you said that led me to believe that, well, yeah, I don't want to get fucking close to that thing.
You would want to?
No, you were putting off the vibe that you don't want to get close to that
Hell
thing.
no.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, he looks like he was in range of getting caught.
Yeah,
You know
getting
what
his
I mean?
fucking arms ripped off.
Right.
I mean, this thing's twisting deer's heads off. So now here's a couple interesting pictures that I found, and I have to go back here a little bit to show.
So
my
the
friend
closeness,
Dave.
doesn't that make you almost feel like it could be more fake? Because, like you said, who in their right mind would want to get that close to something that's ripping a tree apart?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you think about it, but if you've lived in the woods your entire life, then, you know, maybe you're not scared. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So here's a picture here that I'm showing Dave right now. Now, this was supposedly taken by this explorer that for some reason, Alfred Middleton was his name. Oh, God, I'm so glad that came to me. Alfred Middleton. And he went far, far deep into South America and past places that anyone's ever gone before. And supposedly took these pictures. Now, these pictures could be they could be fake.
Is there a baby one behind it?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple other pictures here where here's another picture where it looks like it's the same one with a woman one, like a girl one. Here's another picture.
So like a little family of them.
Yeah, it's like a little family. You know what I mean? And so here's another picture.
Which makes it less believable that they're interdimensional to me.
Right, it does. Or does it?
I don't know. I feel like if you're going to switch dimensions, would you take your kids?
Maybe that's all part of their life. You know, like maybe they can only raise them in this realm. You know, maybe they can only be small in this realm, and they got to be more formidable to be in the other one. Who the fuck knows?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Obviously, we're just speculating.
Yeah.
But it's fun to talk about and think about. So there's a couple weird pictures there. Now, the missing 411, what we were just talking about here. Oh. Here's a picture of the movie poster. Now, you guys can go check this movie out. Here it is right here. It's between Dave and I. It's on Netflix. And the stories are unbelievable. And listen,
They have to be true.
Obviously, I don't believe anything Netflix puts out. But sometimes they're telling you what's going on.
Yeah.
Right? You know that I believe that the elite have to tell us what's going on through symbols and through, you know, hidden meaning, you know, and if we're too dumb to figure it out, that's on us. That's how they feel. And what is that called? Not to go off on a tangent, but that's actually called something. And it is called...
Like when they put symbols out?
The elites tell us through their books and publications, movies, news releases, and, you know, all that stuff, what they're doing. This is called revelation of method. If you are too stupid to recognize it for what it is, that is your problem from their point of view. It is a form of ritual mocking of the victim. And they believe that this is what helps them, you know, keep their power and come back in the next life with even more power and keep them in elite status. And this is how they've been playing this game for thousands of years. But right now we're just talking about Bigfoot, and we're trying to figure out whether he's interdimensional or not. Dave thinks if they've got a family on this side, they're on this side all the time. You know,
I would think so.
I tend to think that maybe that the baby can go through the realm if he wants, but there may be like some like Gorgons on the other side. You might want to keep them on this side to raise them in the forest where humans are too dumb to fucking find anything.
What's the chances that the elitists tell us this story about the Sasquatch just to help put some fear out there of something, right? Like maybe
to be afraid to go in the woods and
maybe
catch them doing satanic rituals, maybe. I mean, that would make sense. I mean, if you've ever,
I almost think that the whole story came out maybe just to give your kids something to be a little bit afraid of, right? Like, I almost think that's more of where this all came from.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, what about that video? I mean, what about all the thousands of sightings that
so
people
the Patterson video, isn't that one it's 100% fake?
Yeah,
right?
and people still talk about that like it's real, and I believe that video is completely fake.
It was.
The guy's. It looks like a guy.
He was a director, correct? The guy that was like.
And supposedly he got in trouble for stealing a monkey suit.
Right,
so there
was a lot of things going on there.
And he was a total like piece of shit, like swindler, like
right.
Like what's a con man.
So I feel like people could do these videos just to kind of get a little bit of fame or whatever, right?
Absolutely. But like you said, the way it moved, like a gorilla would rip that piece of wood down and just kind of like throw it in there. And that one just kind of makes you wonder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That one really does make you wonder.
Yeah. There's definitely holes, though, like you said. Why would we get that close to that? And, there's a lot going on there.
Now, here are the usual suspects. Now, Dave, I got a picture up here of, there's an 8-foot. There's a picture. It says the usual suspects. Mm-hmm. And there's a picture of a guy. He's 6 foot. He's standing next to a black bear who's about 6'5", who's standing next to a brown bear who's 8 foot, who's on the other side of that standing next to a Sasquatch that's about 8'5". Now, this is the usual suspects, it says. It's kind of like the movie meme. So it's kind of funny. But yeah, you've seen many bears walking on their hind legs.
Yeah, there's videos.
The black bears, especially, and walking very weird about it too. Not just walking on their hind legs, but almost walking robotic,
right?
Like the way that they stride. So yeah, there's a lot of misidentification, I think, going on all the time. Now, we went over the Yeti, we went over the Yeren. Let's go over the Wendingo. Now, the Wendingo is a lot different. This is a Native American one, and this is the one where it looks more like a Bigfoot body with longer arms, and then it has like an elk head. And the face is really deformed. So there's been a couple movies recently came out about it. One was called Antlers, and that was about the Wendingo. And that's interesting. And then what I think we saw in the video here is the skunk ape. And so let's make this picture a little bit bigger. Now, if we could zoom in, sorry everyone, I'm trying to make this a little bit bigger here. Bear with me for a second. So you can really, now, could this be a silverback gorilla in a marsh? Maybe. But it's got that white stripe right down the face, and look at its face, man. Look at its face. That is odd.
You got a picture of that?
Yeah, this one's right here. It's let me see here. I thought I did.
Is this the
Oh, this is the skunk ape. Where is it? It was attached to the Wendingo. Okay, here. If you can look right there, that's what we're looking at. And so you can see there in the middle, I mean, it's just sitting there. I mean, that's a good, clear picture.
That looks like a character in the Planet of the Apes. You sure it wasn't like taken when they were shooting that movie?
I mean, it could have been.
Right?
It could have been. I mean,
yeah.
But that supposedly is the skunk ape. And the skunk ape is found in the southern parts of the United States, usually, the Arkansas. Like, I think that's the one that we were looking at. If we were looking at one and that's what it was, that one that we saw, let me show that video one more time, everyone, so you can see. We'll show this video one more time here. I'll even turn it back up. I'm going to make it big. Right? And it's covering both of our faces, and I'm just going to watch it one more time. And hopefully you can hear the sound, but he's just snapping. You can see the way he pulls it off. He'll like just snap you in half. He was like Conor McGregor saying to Donald Cerrone, "I will snap you in half," and we didn't believe him. Remember, none of us believed him, and then he dispatched him so easily. So, not that I'm a big Conor McGregor fanboy. He actually really annoys me, but he told the truth about some things. That's for sure. There's that. So we've gone over all the pictures, I think. And here's the Australian one, actually, so we'll go over that one real quick. And, here is the Maracoxy. So what is that? It's a possible Bigfoot relative. Now, this looks more like a ground sloth.
Okay.
Now, this supposedly is living deep in South America rainforest. Some say it's humanoid, while others describe it a bipedal bear-like creature with sloth claws. Whether it's a Bigfoot relative or a remnant of an ancient species of megafauna thought to be extinct, the scientifically accepted explanation that it might be a giant ground sloth, which was previously believed to be extinct. So what I was just saying. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting. They say that this thing's still living, just like a Loch Ness monster, for example.
Right.
A giant ground sloth that's still being sighted.
So do you think it's probably pretty possible that all these different things could be just considered the Yeti that everyone's reporting they see?
Yeah, I mean, a Yeti is just like one thing. It's just one part of the Yeti. Remember, that's in the Himalayas. But here's the Yowie. The Yowie is the Australian Sasquatch's cousin. And apparently this motherfucker's really violent. I mean, in this picture, there's a picture of him holding a rock over his head like he's going to smash someone. I actually think this picture is like from the beef jerky. What is it? From the Bigfoot.
Slim Jim commercials?
Yeah, I think this is actually one of that picture. But yeah, I always thought to be considered the more violent towards humans than Sasquatches, although they have not been reported to have eaten anyone yet. Oh, well, that's good news. Shoosh.
Well, so there are some that ate people that have been reported.
Yes. Yes.
Dang. Let's hear about that. You know any of those?
Well, here's a picture here. I got a picture here. Here's a deer. This is one of those deer cams, and you can see in the background that there's a Bigfoot that's lit up.
Where do you know where this deer cam was shot at? Was it in the States? Different country?
No, man. I mean, I just tried to, I'll be honest, I kind of, rush a little bit of these pictures, and I'm just trying to find pictures online that could kind of go with the storytelling of what we're trying to convey. But no, I have no background in this picture. No. I see a deer with its eye lit up. I see a Bigfoot in the background with its eyes lit up, and there's a circle around it showing you that it's a fucking Bigfoot. So I was like, oh,
it's gotta be.
Someone's already done the work.
Right.
And so, yeah, I mean, I don't have time to go take a picture of a Bigfoot and be like, this is my picture, and this is the only true source we're ever going to have. Like, no. we got to kind of like go by what other people have been, done, or otherwise there's no testimony. Like, we haven't seen one.
You ever watch
we've
the
never been to
shows
space.
of Finding Sasquatch or whatever it is on like the History Channel? Have you seen that?
I have before, and to be honest, like every time I ever watch any of those shows, I'm just like, these people are fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
like they always show like the worst, like Joe Rogan always says, like the most unfuckable white guys like ever. You know what I mean? There's like, yeah, well, like no one's gonna believe this guy. Like,
Right.
why don't they have a doctor? Why don't they have the doctor on? You know what I mean? Why don't they have Dr. Jeff Meldrum on? You know, that guy sounds intelligent in the way he explains it would
Right.
get people looking into it. But no, they're never going to show you that because they want everything being fucking to control the information.
Yeah.
Everything's controlled.
So
know?
you think that these guys are kind of chosen to be the goofballs that are talking Yetis and that they're alive and all that stuff, huh?
Yeah, I think they try to find the most unarticulate, like dumbest, like Joe Rogan says, he said it the best, like the most unfuckable white guys, and that made me laugh, and it's so true. Like it's some guy with no teeth. Yeah, all of his teeth are gone, and he talks in the most southern accent. He's blurring words together. You know, one word is actually 3 words. Right. He's like, "Get on out of here," or something like that. And it's like, "Y'all too," like that, all that. Remember? So they always grab guys like that, and I just think that's pretty interesting. So I could never really get into any of those shows because number one, they never show a Bigfoot. No, right? They never show a Bigfoot. It's always.
But that keeps you watching because you think the next episode for sure we're gonna see this Bigfoot, right?
Oh man, I hope that sound wasn't on that whole time. I might have to cut some of that out. We'll see. Yeah. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
Good question. You caught me off guard.
Listen. So we'll go over it. The Yeti is a chunkier, it's more like a chimpanzee foot, and in Russia there's the Almasty, it's much more human-like feet. The China, and it was the Sasquatch and Yeren, and like the guy said, his best evidence that he thought was that they had the same matching feet. Yeah. And that there was no way that guy could have ever got a hold of the American cast. Yeah. To make that.
So there's no videos of it or anything like that he could have maybe seen?
Apparently the guy lived in a fucking a mountain field in the middle of China with no power. Oh, okay. Like there's a lot of people that live people lived thousands of years ago still over there. Yeah. So so it could be bears. It's interesting all the deers, our heads are twisted off. Now to just kind of maybe go off track a little bit, I want to talk about a very interesting topic called the Kandahar Giant. And supposedly in Afghanistan, or I think it was Afghanistan in the early 2010s or later 2000s or whatever, there was a clan of giants in the mountains that were giving our soldiers problems.
Is there video of this?
No. Of course not. And in fact, this is how the story goes down. One guy tells another guy about this story. And he's like, whoa, that's crazy. But he doesn't really believe him. Mm-hmm. And but then a year later, an unrelated guy to the other guy goes up to the guy that got the original story. And this guy tells him almost the exact same story. Mm-hmm. And now he's like, well, what the fuck is up with that? So then he looks into it a little bit and he finds out that there's these giants or one giant or a couple giants that were giving people in the mountains problems. And we're talking...
What kind of problems? Like they're attacking?
Like
they're
driving a 12-foot spear through them.
So they're killing people?
Yes, and ripping their fucking heads off. And so this thing was supposedly called the Kandahar Giant.
Now,
And
wouldn't
they were
there be
training
some sort of document of this if it was like soldiers?
But you were ordered to, this is need to know basis.
Mm-hmm.
And the guys that were part of it were either killed, they were either assassinated, or, some of them slipped through the cracks, obviously, because we're talking about it now.
Yeah.
Right, but they try to keep everything compartmentalized as much as possible so that, you can't find out anything, and that everyone's on a need-to-know basis. You think the guy that sweeps the floor at Tesla stands in on the board of director meetings with Elon Musk? No, he's not fucking invited.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like everyone's like, wouldn't it be so hard to keep such a big secret? It's like, no, you're trained to believe the system.
Yeah.
So they keep everyone just going along with a nicely oiled machine.
Yeah.
Everyone believes what they're doing. Even the soldiers. They don't realize that they're stormtroopers in fucking Star Wars. We've got a base in every country.
Mm-hmm.
We're the empire.
We're yeah.
The United States is the empire. And our soldiers are the stormtroopers. God love them.
Mm-hmm.
They think they're doing everything for freedom, and they're doing everything for the corruption of the powerful. They're doing everything for the corruption of the powerful. So these Navy SEALs are trained to shoot high.
Okay.
And so this thing comes, and no one knows why until they get to the cave, and this thing fucking comes running out of the cave, and they're like, whoa, and they fucking light this thing up.
Enough.
And so it had to be flown out of there. And so what they did was
So this is like Game of Thrones giants, right?
Game of Thrones giants, yep.
Yeah.
And they killed, and there's a reason why they put a lot of that stuff in the movies.
Oh, did I just throw you off a little bit?
Remember, they're trying to tell you something.
Yeah.
Without telling you exactly what's going on. And so they fly this thing out of there. But they kill the rest of them with the Moab Bomb.
Okay. What's a Moab Bomb?
The Moab Bomb is the mother of all bombs. And that's supposedly the bomb that they created to take out the cell of the giants that were left. And it was named after the tribe, and I think it's Deuteronomy 10:2, is the Moab tribe was the tribe that destroyed a tribe of giants in the Bible.
So right now...
So the bomb is named after the tribe that destroyed the giants, and this is the bomb that took out the rest of the giants, either before or after the altercation with the Kandahar Giant in the cave.
So we think, like right now, our bomb took out the only giants that are heard of at this point? Or are there other giants maybe out there still?
Maybe.
You haven't heard of any though?
No, this is the only most recent one that I've heard about, and
well, I've heard of you.
I've heard several stories about this, and it's really, really interesting in that, like, it was hush hush, and like even like a lot of like colonels and generals like didn't know about it, and it was like, and if people were found out talking about it, like they got fucked up, so it's like a lot of things.
Yeah, I've heard you talk before about like these bombings that we think we're going in there and stopping wars or whatever, but we're actually bombing old relics and stuff like that. And then do you think this is almost kind of like one of those type of missions?
Absolutely. I absolutely think that. These guys go out of their way to not only hide history, but hide the truth of the present. And
now, do you think the reason you would be hiding it is to like...
If you control the information, you control everything.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just take, for example, everyone that, rushed to get a vaccine because, of the pandemic that was right away. They came out with it really fast. They put it out there, and now many people that took it are having problems with it. They're having heart problems. They're having heart palpitations. I mean, even people that take my class, we can't figure out what's wrong with them anymore. Their doctor says, well, you're not going to want to hear this, but it's probably the vaccine. I mean, that's when I would have caught a case. You know, I would have punched a fucking doctor right in his fucking throat when he was like, oh, well, I told you to get a vaccine and, you know, and you did. And now I'm telling you that's messed you up bad.
Yeah.
So my bad. Like, what? So,
but there's got to be a lot of people that have taken the vaccine that haven't had any issues, right? I mean, I took the vaccine and I haven't had any issues that I know. Maybe I'm blocking them out.
Your stamina has been just as bad as it ever was. That's what I mean. So we don't really have.
There was no real good benchmark, is what you're saying.
You know, it's hard to. Yeah, but I'm glad you're feeling good and normal, like obviously, but you did only take the one,
right,
and then you said, this doesn't make any sense, so I'm not going to do any more of this. And now you've skipped out on all the 25 boosters too.
Yeah.
So, you know, congratulations. I'm really proud of you. And, you know, hopefully today at noon, you know, you'll be on your back foot and you'll throw combinations from your face. I mean, that's the goal every day.
Right.
You know, so, and to not get our head ripped off by a fucking Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Twisted off. But I do wish that I would have had some of the pictures of the giants that supposedly were in the battle of the 1855 of the Bigfoot Wars of the Native Americans. But yeah, it's really, really interesting. You know, supposedly one couple took a video of a Bigfoot and they saw it clear as day. And it was close to them. It would have been a great video. But when they got back home and looked at the video, it was like Predator running away.
Well, then that goes back to, like, this got to be interdimensional.
Right? Because they saw him clear as day, but then on the video, it's in a spectrum that can't be picked up.
Yeah.
Right. So that is really interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, some more evidence of. You know, and obviously you have to always take this stuff with a grain of salt because people are smart. They create movies that look real. You know what I mean? So obviously they can trick you. I mean, they tricked our grandfathers and our dads that they went to the moon, and people are still fucking think we went there. Guarantee you we never went there.
Don't you think it's a little bit easier nowadays to trick people? With
Hell
video and
with technology, but I mean, people are like, I saw it on the television.
Yeah.
In the 1960s, I'm like, you saw the people land on the moon on the black and white television? Like, wow, that couldn't have been faked. Like, for real, it like blows my mind. You know, I mean, if you saw Bigfoot on the moon on the black and white television, they would still believe it.
Maybe.
Those same people.
Yeah.
Because the government said it was real. Neil Armstrong saw Bigfoot run by, and if he ran by, everyone would be like, dude, did you see Bigfoot? And somebody's going to walk by and be like, no, man, that was a year. And
yeah. I don't know. I think the thing is everyone kind of goes into
that was a
like,
Yeti.
It's why would we lie about so many things that you can't even tell the reason why the lie wouldn't happen? We're just lying to lie.
Because think about a liar. He has to keep lying to keep his lies going. Think about someone that you know that's a complete fucking liar. They've lied about something. They lie about everything. And then they continue to lie to like try to hide those other lies.
Yeah.
And it's just a vicious cycle of you can never even know who you truly are. But the problem is that these guys know who they are.
Yeah.
Like, but I don't necessarily think Bigfoot is I think Bigfoot eludes the elites even.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Bigfoot works with them. I think there are some things that just get away from them, like the internet. They thought there was going to be only like 10 websites, you know, and now it's like no one could have anticipated Pornhub would probably eventually sponsor NASCAR.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No one could have foreseen that. You know, you've got these old fucks that set up this system, and now their children are running it.
Yeah.
These trust fund kids. You know what I mean? These fucking dorks that don't even know how to throw a fucking punch. You know, so, you know, in my opinion, you know, you know, they don't know everything, and they're not as smart as they think they are, but they go out of their way to control the information, and that's easy to do with things like Facebook and TikTok and the news and television and movies and science and school, you know, and trust me, I believe in a lot of science. We are coming to you through science and innovation. You know what I mean? So it's just the fear-based stuff. If there's a lot of fear-based stuff behind it, then I tend to question it after knowing their script. Yeah. Knowing their script. And their script is obvious to me. It's obvious.
Well, let's go back to the Sasquatch here. I got a good question, I think, for you. Do you think that it's more advanced or less advanced? Like
than we think it is, or just
like, so the video you showed makes me think that it's not advanced at all. I mean, it's trying to rip apart a tree.
Yeah.
You know, but you tell me a story about where it disappears like it's the predator. That's very advanced.
But maybe it's not something he has control over. It's just a spectrum. Yeah. Like, it's just like the spectrum of light, you know, that didn't show up, you know, but maybe.
But where do you fit on it? Like, instead of like maybe this, maybe that. Where's your thoughts at? Like, oh man, do I feel like he's more like Predator, or do I think he's more like an elusive bear that we can't find?
I mean, I tend to agree with you in the sense of, like, when you look at a video of him, like, sure, he's ripping bark off the tree.
Yeah.
Then he's a dumbass gorilla.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Or he's a dude in a monkey suit that's pretending to be a dumbass gorilla because he doesn't really know how a Bigfoot really acts.
Right.
But there's some other videos, like there's this one where this family walks up, and I wish I had it. But and you see the thing, like, look at him and, like, stand up, and everyone's like, whoa, that's huge, and it turns and runs.
Yeah.
Like, in the way it ran, like, looked like a Bigfoot would run. It didn't look like...
like when you close your eyes and think about Bigfoot,
like
that's how
he moves. He ran just like that. So, you know, there's some stuff out there, you know, but... Yeah, I'm torn, man. I like to think of things being a lot more special than they are.
Yeah.
You know, like interdimensional travel.
Right.
Like, I like to think that he's walking in and out, you know, here and there, but...
That's definitely a better story if that's the truth, right?
Maybe just certain kinds are. Maybe it's just like there's elite Bigfoot, there's elite people that really know what's going on. There's only a few Bigfoot that can do that. Who the fuck knows? Like, but I sure think it's a lot more interesting to talk about than whatever Anderson Cooper's trying to fucking tell us.
So do you believe there is something?
I definitely believe that there's a lot more to this world than we're being told. In the
just
narrative.
with the Bigfoot. Like, do you believe there's some sort of Bigfoot?
I'm gonna tend to lean more on it's a species like a bear.
Yeah.
Like, it's a species of animal that's found all over the world, and somehow it's been elusive because it's a little bit smarter than we think. I don't really swallow the predator cloaking device thing yet, but, you know, I do think that some of these videos, you know, have a little bit of legitimacy. They could have a little bit of legitimacy to them. Yeah. You know, and we have no proof that he's like Predator. Yeah. You know, we just have, you know, stories. Yeah. You know, have you ever heard the clacking of them? They're like the knocking. Where they
like smack trees together.
Yeah, they're knocking and they're talking, and then they like. There's this one video where they like the guy says he sounds like a drunk samurai.
Okay, I've heard like and they're like, little babies or something. Like that.
He just like sounds like, and they're like, dude, and then the guy tries to talk back to it, and it like pauses for a second, and then like starts making more noise. But it was like when he talked, it bothered it. Like, it was like...
Is this one of the shows, or is this one of like a documentary type thing?
No, this is just a video that's out, and like you can like, it's like a home video.
Oh, okay.
Or it's like a home recording. Yeah. And like it's used in many podcasts. Oh, all right. Right. Yeah. So, but it's like the most famous recording of them communicating with each other. And I wish I could find it. Maybe.
How old is that video? Is it a newer one?
No, I think it's from the 80s or 90s.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's older.
Older.
Yeah, it was like when you were like pooping your pants and stuff type old, probably, which was probably like 1987.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I was done pooping my pants by then.
Well, you were born in 1980, so I'd hope so. I mean, we're talking 88. I mean,
Right.
we're going. Madonna was big by then, wasn't she?
I don't know.
All right. Well, another piece of evidence is, and obviously anyone could do this, but they found like huge piles of like shellfish on the beach, eaten in like seemed like a very like animalistic way, and it's like no other animal besides people collects shellfish and eats it like that.
Now, what do you mean eats it like that? How do we know how it like eat? I'm guessing just the shell was left and there was a lot of it.
And it's just a pile of shells, and then like some of it's half eaten, some of it, but you can tell it's been eaten by something that collected it all. And the evidence would point more towards an animal and less towards a person.
Yeah.
This is the testimony.
I feel like with all these trail cams and all these cameras everywhere you go, like, gosh, someone's going to have to get like a real good shot of this thing.
I mean, it's going to happen. I mean, you could consider some of them like a good shot, like the, like.
I mean, the one you showed, I guess, could be considered, I guess. But there's still a lot of questions about that.
I hear what you're saying. But like, here, like, look at this one. This is the one I was talking about earlier.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like one of those trail cams, and there's like many pictures like that. But could it be a dude in a fucking suit and a Halloween costume? I mean, you've got makeup artists that made the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
And like you said, this looks like a Planet of the Apes guy sitting right there, the skunk ape.
Yeah, right.
So, it's hard to distinguish. It's hard to, figure this shit out. Until I die and go to the afterlife and come back and tell you about it.
Right.
I'm not going to know for sure what happened.
Yeah.
And you're still not going to know because you're going to be like, well, maybe the DMT in his brain was just firing really heavy at the time of his death, and then he thought he was somewhere he wasn't.
Right.
So who really fucking knows, man?
Yeah.
But all I know is life is a lot more interesting than the elite want you to know. I'm just going to say that. And I don't think Bigfoot and the elite are working together.
No, I don't think so either.
I think he eludes them too, and they're trying to figure out what's going on with him. Now, what's up with the guy that was found underneath the tree? You gave me one example of maybe a guy drove a truck through the forest and went around all these trees like this and went up and over hills and over boulders and somehow got to this deep in the forest and then pulled off this crazy feat of lift and stamp, like a stamping plant of this guy.
Now, what is my theory? Is it?
No, really, like, let's try to talk your way through this real quick.
Okay.
How did the guy drive through there with his truck to do that? And then
carefully, if he did, but I doubt it, right?
When he gets the truck there, what does that matter?
It wouldn't matter.
He's going to rip the tree. He's going to rip the huge tree out just by pulling it with his truck.
Have you seen like these spade trucks? They pull out some pretty big trees.
A spade truck.
Yeah.
So it has like a special like front end that digs.
On the back has like these spades that go into the ground, grab the whole root system, everything, pull it out, giant hole, throw the guy in it, put it right back on top. It'd be very clean though, right? Like
but it would look like something like
you would
scooped it and dug
yeah.
it, right? It didn't look like that. Supposedly it looked like it was just ripped up and then shot back
right.
down.
Roots probably still sticking in the air kind of thing, right?
Yeah, roots just like in the ground from where he stamped it, and then roots now that not going back in the ground that are he just completely annihilated. Now then there was another story of a guy who was found away from the tree where he was in but they found his belt like hanging from the tree, and they saw these marks on the tree, and what they figured out, what they theorized was he was using his belt to hold himself up in the tree to keep himself from something getting him.
Yeah.
So
But that could be anything, right? Like a panther or some sort of cat, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would make you want to, or a bear or something, right? You'd tie yourself up into that tree and hope that he
But there's
leaves.
just these weird situations, like especially with the missing 411, like let's think about the guy's skeleton is found months later, but it's found where people had already searched at one point. And then it's found months later, and it's a skeleton. The gun's leaning up against the tree. He's a complete skeleton, but his clothes are folded nicely next to him.
I mean, who knows? What if he was doing laundry and was poisoned, died, no one finds him forever? Now you have a skeleton.
But they searched the place, they searched that area, and he wasn't like, and we're talking the whole time during the search, they had searched the area, he was never found.
So you're saying this is like a 10-day window?
No, it's a month, it's months.
A month.
It's months. Like, they searched for him for many days, didn't find him, searched that area, he wasn't there. And then months later, his skeleton is found, leaning up against the tree, gun next to him, clothes folded next to him.
So just like full skeleton, like not like in pieces anywhere.
No, full skeleton.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and there's like thousands of these types of
Thousands, huh?
thousands of these cases that David Pedritis goes and talks to each one of these families.
Really?
Now, the ones that really blow your mind, and this is a good way for us to end this, is the kids that go missing, and not the ones that die, which is horrible, or the ones that are never found, but the ones that are found, and then have some weird story to tell about how they even survived 5 days in the wilderness.
How young are these kids?
4.
Oh.
3.
So they don't
2.
talk super well.
They don't talk super well. They can't really articulate what they saw. But like the one kid walks to the edge of the woods, and he disappears. He disappears for 5 fucking days.
Okay.
Now, how old are your kids?
6 and 10.
Now, think about your 6-year-old daughter in the woods, deep in the woods for 5 days by herself.
Yeah, that'd be tough.
That'd be tough, right? And I'm not saying that she wouldn't survive it, you know, and I'm not saying that my daughters wouldn't survive it either. I'm just saying the chances of them surviving that are very slim, because not only would the weather get to you and the elements, but you would have to find a way to forage for water and food. And maybe not so much food, but you would definitely need water.
Right.
Right. And a kid that at that age, that's younger than your kid and my kid, that'd be like my Sophia. Like, I can't think of Sophia being lost in the woods.
Yeah.
Like, she's 4.
Yeah.
Like, she wouldn't know what to do at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Panic would set in. You just, what are you going to do? Eventually, maybe they calm down and try to figure it out. You know, I think humans are super resilient. But the kid's missing for 5 days. Now, what's really even more peculiar is that after 5 days, everyone has just conceded that they're going to be looking for a body. But when they get to the top of this mountain ridge, they hear something, and out strolls this little baby out of the cave. Fully hydrated, food on its face.
Food? What kind of food?
Some fruit, berries, whatever.
All right.
You know what I mean, something that was in the forest. You know, like, you know, just hydrated. Fine. Happy.
Clothes?
Taken care of.
Clothes on, all that kind of stuff?
I don't remember how close they were.
Yeah.
maybe not. I'm not sure. I can't really remember that part, you know.
Right.
But they tried to ask the baby what happened, and he's like, snowman, help me, snowman, help me, snowman.
So somebody
took that baby thousands of feet up the mountain, which people said no way that baby got up there. No way. Even if it's just hiking,
Right.
no way the baby got up there.
Right.
And then another story was a kid went missing and ended up like 30 miles away very fast, super fast. And they found him the next day and said, yeah, there's a bear, a big bear on my back, or something like that. It's like I was on the bear's back. Like, and that's how he got so far, so fast, and wasn't hurt at all.
Dang.
Right.
So what's your believability on those stories?
I believe, especially when you have a search party,
Yeah.
searching for a little baby for 5 days, and the searchers, who are mountaineers, who are rock climbers, tell you that there's no way that that baby got up there. And you have all these people who think a baby's going to be found dead, but they find it alive. That, to me, that evidence is overwhelming. That's something.
Yeah, but you don't think it was like, I mean, it's fun to think that it's got to be the Sasquatch, but it almost seems like it's probably a person.
Could have been.
Right.
But when you have the baby say what few words they can say alludes to not a person,
Yeah.
then that's also interesting.
Yeah.
And you do have, and I'm not even going to go over the adult stories of the guys that said they were kept alive by the Sasquatch nipple.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not even going to go over those stories.
No.
Because remember, humans can lie easy.
Yeah.
And I tend to think adults that may have an agenda are going to lie all the time.
Yeah.
But children, in certain ways where they don't have no reason to lie when it has nothing to do with them getting in trouble.
Right.
You know what I mean? Many
right.
times, like, they're going to tell the truth.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think when the baby says snowman, that's what they really thought.
It's probably something.
They're not going, hey, kid, tell your parents to call me the snowman. You know, like,
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not
Right.
some mob, you know, it's not some kidnapper that took him up in a cave and kept him alive for 5 days for what?
Yeah.
And didn't hurt him, didn't molest him.
Well, maybe had, second guessed what he was doing.
Maybe. It's very, very possible. But everyone look into the missing 411. You know, it's very interesting. You know, always try to have conversations with your friends that will spark your curiosity. And, stop arguing about things that don't matter. Like Republicans versus Democrats. Oh, my God. That's the fakest shit ever. These guys all sit at the same table making fun of us. So please, as soon as you get that through your head, you'll realize that they already know who they want leading the theater show. So thanks, Dave, for coming to Thursdays. As Dave and it looks like we are frozen. So bye-bye, everyone. I don't know what's going on. Take care. Thanks for coming in, Dave.
Yep.
Love you, buddy.